Hello guys, we are back with another What If Deku video. Now of course, I just want to say this, I think I was mistaken. I was on episode 7, but I just finished season 1 of My Hero Academia. And we are past the, what is it? The USJ, I think? No, it couldn't be that. USJ, unanimous nation something, or like natural something. But anyways, we are just gonna go on to where we left off. So I did make part 2 already, but this is part 2 again. I just want to redo it just a little bit before I actually upload, rewatch it all, and then see, which one is better for me to upload, which one is better, to have on YouTube. So anyways, let's just begin with the what if. So we start this what if off during the time with Deku and his classmates are gonna be doing tests. Now, of course, those are gonna be the 8 tests, like field test at with Aizawa, I'm pretty sure. So Eraserhead is Aizawa. Was gonna do. By the way, like he was gonna make them do the test. By the way, let's see what kind of other tests. Not test names. So last part 2, it was kind of bad, like the way I did names, but now I remember. So there's Ida, there's Uraka, there's Sue, there is 13, there is, wow, there's a lot of people I've really forgotten. There's also this one girl, or my bad, not girl, that boy with the balls on his head, like the sticky ones, and they do nothing. That's like I'm not gonna lie, that quirk would have been so good. I think that guy's name is like with an M or something. Mineta, I don't know. I think Mineta actually. Yeah. So we got Shigaraki. We also have. Wait, no, that one guy with the teleportation. I know like what he is, but his name, By the way, he has that like neck brace that All For One has, and yeah. Kurogiri. Okay, so let's just start this what if off. Now, we start this what if off during the time of class 1A taking all the tests. Now, of course, Deku is just gonna completely ace all these. Like, come on now, he's Deku, and in a rebirth, not rebirth, freaking reincarnation. Damn it. Technically, it's the same thing, but reincarnation of Aoi Todo. So Deku is pretty strong. He's considerably one of the strongest in the class. And yes, I want to say this. So at the time of the fight during the sludge villain, there was a 10-month time skip. So after the sludge villain attack, 10 months went by. He was training. Now Deku is around 15. So I want to say this before, we actually continue with the what if. I did, forget that part. But ever since I did finish season 1 today, I'm like, all right. Just understand more about the what if, study it more, do more research about it, and then you can make the what if. So yeah. Anyways, we're just gonna have a time to where the test would start. Now, I'm gonna actually, I don't remember all the tests, but I know there's like running tests and everything like that. So yeah. Okay, so there was 8 tests. Now it's the ball throw, 50-meter dash, grip strength, standing long jump, repeated side steps, seated toe touch, sit-ups, and a distant run. So those are all the tests that were most that were done. So yeah, as Bakugo, not Bakugo, Deku, he just outclasses everybody. His physical strength is too much for everyone. He's able to run faster than most people. So yeah, as the ball throw, he gets around 4,000. A lot of people are like, well, not even 4,000, even farther than that. And everybody's like, how is someone without a quirk, or someone who says that he doesn't have a quirk, is able to do this? And it's just causing people to wonder, is this guy lying? So yeah. Anyways, we're just gonna have a time to where all these tests are complete as the results will be given out. Now, Uraraka would actually go up to Deku, thanking him, and actually saying, like, is he telling the truth about not having a quirk? As Deku would say, yeah, I was born without a quirk. So, yeah, I don't have one. As, you know, Uraraka or, what is it, Ida would be like, are you sure? Because the strength that you showed, it's similar to, like, a super strength quirk. Look, man, lying to your friends isn't good. As, you know, Deku would be like, look, I'm not lying. I don't have a quirk, but ever since I was born, I was able to be abnormally strong. And even though if I don't have a quirk, I have another ability, as he would clap. Now, as he claps, Ida would be swapped with, well, Deku, as Deku would take the place of Ida. As Ida was like, what the heck was that? As Deku would say, it's my technique. It's not really a quirk, but it's a technique. It allows me to swap places with people or swap places with objects. And I can also swap two people. As he would then clap again, Uraraka and Ida would be swapped. As people are looking at this in fascination, as Aizawa would be like, huh, well done. As he would then look at Deku and try and erase his quirk. As Aizawa would actually say, Deku, try that quirk again. As Deku said, it's not a quirk, but alright. As Deku claps, he would be swapped with someone. As Aizawa, seeing this, would be wide-eyed. Would have wide eyes. He's surprised. He was caught off guard. He didn't know. Does his quirk not work on Deku? As this is when, well, you know, Aizawa would say, whoa, it seems you weren't lying. You really don't have a quirk. But how can you have an ability like that? It's either your quirk is too simple and wouldn't allow me to erase it, or it's not a quirk at all and it's something else. Which has me thinking, how can something like this ever happen? Anyways, this is when, well, you know, let's say the next day would go by as All Might would come in, becoming like a teacher. But, you know, All Might would take Deku outside of the classroom to talk, saying that he needs to become his successor now. Or else it was going to be that Mirio guy, which I haven't seen that guy yet. You know, I only seen that guy once, and that was like a couple years ago. And all I know is that he was supposed to be like one of the, you know, successors. But, you know, All Might found Deku. So, yeah. Anyways, by the way, I only seen him a couple years ago, like 3 years, when one of my friends was watching My Hero Academia. It's like that guy with wide eyes and everything. He could go through walls. Yeah. So, anyways, Deku would eat, you know, All Might's hair. They go back to class as the bomb test would begin. Or like the, you know, yes, that bomb test would begin. So, yeah. Anyways, we're just going to go on to the events that happened there. So we start off the events to where, well, they start pulling cards. Or not cards, but like they start pulling numbers out of a bucket. As Deku getting lucky. Oh man, I feel like I did this already. Oh wait, I did. Deku getting lucky gets Uraraka. As yeah, he has become somewhat of a friend to Uraraka. You know, after him saving her, she, you know, gave in like a testimony or statement. Like saying, oh, he got rescue points and everything like that. Like he saved her from dying. So yeah. Anyways, we're just gonna go on to where we left off. So, I mean, what the well, my bad. We're just gonna go on to where we left off back at the bomb test. Meant to say that because I went off topic, or I went off track instead of, you know, so we're gonna go back. So we are back. He gets her as a teammate, and then Ida is their villain enemy, along with Bakugo, as Deku would just have a mischievous smile, you know? He's just like, huh, guess I get to fight this guy. Bakugo, the person who's been so annoying. Well then, I guess. As this is when they would go into the building. Now, as they go in, Uraraka and Deku would be wondering where the bomb is. As Deku says, hey, Uraraka. But this is when Bakugo would show up saying, hey, Deku, you damn bastard. As he runs in at him. How dare you make me look like a fool? I knew you had a quirk this entire time, yet you were hiding it. As this is when Deku would say, huh? Oh man, this guy. As this is when, oh yes, by the way, did I make Deku eat the hair? Yes, I did. I made him eat a strand of All Might's hair. Okay, so we're good on that. This is when Deku tells Uraraka to just run and find the bomb, and he will deal with Bakugo. Now, as Bakugo sends an explosion at Deku, Deku just walk past this explosion with minimal damage, and would just straight up grab Bakugo by the hand and throw him to the wall. As he gets slammed into the wall, like a small little crater would appear. As this is when Bakugo comes up with the attack with the right hook. As, you know, Deku, knowing this, is going to easily dodge and then, like, grab his arm, slamming him to the ground. As this is when Deku would punch the wall. As it would crack, he would then grab one of the pieces of rubble and throw it at Bakugo, or throw it away from Bakugo, clapping, and then punching the wall again, getting another rock on his hand. As this is when, well, you know, Deku would throw the rock, clap, and then do a little spin. As he spins, he would kick Bakugo. As Bakugo would get hit by this brute force, it would get him sent flying into the wall. But this is when he recovers and takes out both gauntlets. As this is when, well, he shoots a gigantic explosion as the entire, you know, place is about to, like, fall and crumble. This is when Uraraka would tell, well, Deku that she has found the bomb. As Bakugo is about to rush in at Deku, Deku would say, well, it was fun fighting you, Bakugo, even though I didn't go half of my strength. As Bakugo would be enraged by this, saying, damn you, Deku, eat this. As this is when Deku would clap, swapping places with Ida. Now, Bakugo seeing this would be like, what the hell? As he would instantly stop his explosion. This is when on the intercom, All Might would say, Hero Team wins. As the kids in the, you know, observatory place, like, observing the fight would be like, huh? No way. As Deku didn't, like, resort to exploding the building this time, you know, well, Deku didn't explode, but, like, he used some Detroit Smash, and then Delaware or something. That's later on, though. Oh, man. Okay, what shall we do? We go on to the next, you know, arc of this. So after that, we just have a time to where, you know, everything else goes as in canon. You know, Bakugo would be just leaving the place, as, you know, All Might would show up saying that pride is, well, it's needed, but, you know, one day he'll become a pro hero and understand everything like that. As Deku would have went down to talk to him, but, you know, Bakugo not wanting to hear it, just set the shut up. As anyways, this is when Deku would be talking with All Might. Now, All Might would be blabbering on, or not blabbering on, but, like, telling, you know, Deku, yo, you're gonna need to become very strong, Deku. I know that you're almost as strong as me, and that's just incredible, because you're only 15. You're one of a kind, Deku. You're like that one person, that scholar, that, how do you say this? Prodigy. That comes once in a lifetime. And I'll be sure to train you good. As this is when my All Might would, you know, send Deku home with, like, a prize or something, like a present. And, you know, I don't really know much about what I can say after this. I guess, like, the prize or the present was, like, a new outfit idea. So, yeah, yes, it was a new outfit. And just imagine, like, one of Todo's outfits. That's what All Might gave Deku over here. So, yeah. Anyways, we're just going to start this one up. No, what the hell am I talking about? Oh, my goodness. We're just going to start off the is it USJ? USJ attack, my bad. Not start this what if off. No, we're past that. We're just going to start the USJ arc. Sorry. Now, the next day rolls around as they'll be taking into a classroom Aizawa and Aizawa would take them to the USJ. Now, as they all make it there, Ito would be like, huh, this place is nice. It's like they have everything here. As they would be talking about all the climates and everything, this is when, Aizawa would be sensing something. As even Deku would be sensing something. He senses a sort of malice. Mind you this, yes, Deku has a little bit of like that sensing of cursed energy. Now, of course, cursed energy in the sense of emotions. So other people's emotions are being, let out, like their anger, their rage, and sometimes even fear. And that is what's creating cursed energy, but those people don't store that cursed energy. So that's why Izuku or Deku is able to sense like that malice, it's just a common understanding of these people are letting off this energy, but they don't actually have it, So yes, we're just gonna have a time, a time to where Aizawa will be like, huh, what the hell is All Might? As this is when his phone wouldn't pick up, like he wouldn't be able to call All Might. All Might would be actually trying to call them. But this is when the principal would show up. All Might was in his big form, but he had to go back to his small form and everything like that. So yeah. As anyways, this is when the what is it again? The USJ attack would happen. Or is it the UN? No, it's the USJ, I'm pretty sure. So, anyways, as this happens, this is when like all the villains would be appearing, as this teleportation villain will show up. And Aizawa would have already jumped down. So, yeah. As anyways, this is when Deku would be put into some sort of like water place. As he's falling, he lands in the water. As he starts to smile, as he sees a man swimming towards him with his jaws open, ready to kill him. But this is when Deku would grab the man by both of his like jaws and straight up close the man's jaw on itself, and like technically he just crushed the man with his own strength, along with the man crushing himself with his own strength. Like he literally just ended it. He didn't kill him, but he's very injured. As this is when Deku would start swimming up at a high pace and then get out the water. As he does that like pose, like how Sukuna did that pose as he put both of his arms out like a T. That's technically what Deku just did. As he lands on the boat, this is when Sue would show up with Mineta, I'm pretty sure. Yes, Mineta, the guy with the black ball, like the sticky ball quirk. Yeah, I don't know. It's a pretty like not good quirk. I'm not gonna lie. If those like things had like a status effect where it would like, let's say, explode or something, that would be better. Like what if Deku had that? That would be good. But anyways, we're just gonna have a time. Times where villains would surround the boat, as Deku would be like, well, it seems they're not attacking. So what's the plan, Sue? As Sue would say, well, I'm not really sure, but I'm not as strong. I'm only able to jump high, and I have a long tongue. It goes out 20 meters. As anyways, this is when we're gonna have a time to where Deku would say, I have a plan. You see, I learned a power of mine. I'm no longer hurt by it, but I was never hurt by it to begin with. I'm gonna say this. Deku is gonna say that he finally got a quirk, or not even gonna lie. He doesn't say any of it. He just says that he has a plan. He doesn't say nothing about quirks, nothing. As he jumps, getting ready, he does a Delaware smash or something. As his finger would flick, or not even, bro. He uses his entire arm and punches the water. As the water would straight up burst out and then all come swirling in. As this is when Deku, he's on the sea bed or on like the water bed. So it is dry at the moment, and he jumps. Now, as he jumps, this is when Sue would catch him. As this is when, Deku would come flying down with a Detroit smash. As he hits the water again, or just above the water, air pressure would start crushing the villains. Now, as the villains are being crushed at the moment, this is when Deku would then be carried off to the land. Now, the events would have happened very quickly, as they would see, well, Aizawa on the ground with 2 broken arms. Now, as he gets up, or as Deku gets out the water, he tells Sue and Mineta to get out of here. As quickly as he said that, he would swap places with, Aizawa, as this is when they take Aizawa. So Sue and Mineta would take him as they start to move away from the battleground. Now, as this happens, Deku would say, so, who's this bastard? As Nomu would try and hit Deku, but Deku would just easily, deflect his attack. As Deku knows, yo, this guy is strong, and he might match his strength if he goes all out. As soon as All Might would show up, as Deku would actually start to fight. Now, as Deku starts to fight, he would hit Nomu, as Nomu would get sent flying or careening back. This is when Nomu would try and punch Deku, but Deku would just clap. Now, All Might would show up, as All Might and Deku start to jump Nomu. Now, as Nomu is getting jumped, Nomu is noticing, yo, the boy is stronger than All Might in strength. As, well, no, I can't. I'm not. Okay, the thing is, I don't really understand power levels in My Hero Academia, so I'm not sure on how strong, All Might is, but I know that All Might did almost, not lose, but, he almost went out of his form. So, yeah. As anyways, this is when Deku and, All Might would keep on jumping the Nomu, and every time, Deku claps, their position is changed, and it's a strength imbalance. So I would say Deku is doing more damage just due to the cursed energy and all that. But if Deku used all for one, Nomu would have been killed. As they keep on going, this is when Deku would say, All Might, get back! I can feel something! As this is when Deku would stomp the ground and kick a pebble towards Nomu. As he claps, he would then do the same thing that Todo did. As both of his arms are out, everything is shining around him. As he then sees something at the end, a white light. As he comes very close to Nomu, this is when he would then hit Nomu with a spinning kick, as he then says, Kokusen! Now, as Deku just hit a black flash, Nomu would not be able to take it. One for All was imbued with that. That attack was imbued with One for All, cursed energy, and it was a black flash, as Nomu would explode. Now, as Nomu explodes, even though he has shock-absorbing quirk, the output that Deku did was way too much for Nomu. I'm saying, Nomu his body could not withstand it. Even if his quirk could, his body couldn't. So as this happens, Shigaraki would say, damn it, it's not fair. He cheated. Now, as he says this, Deku would say, oh yeah? Well then, let's say I fight you right here. And whoever wins is better. Yeah? This is when All Might would start steaming. He's already out of time. This is when the guy with the portal would show up. The criminals will start to get back up. But this is when, the reinforcements will show up. Now, this is where we are going to end off the What If. Now, I really hope you guys enjoyed part 2. Make sure to like, subscribe, comment down below what you guys think of part 2. Yes, I did make 2 versions of part 2 just because one, yes, it may be longer, but it wasn't to this point. I stopped part 2 last time where Deku did Delaware Smash, and after all those villains were in the whirlpool. That's where I stopped because I didn't know what was next. But now that I finished part 1, I knew now. So yeah. But anyways, really hope you guys enjoyed. You guys could suggest me any what ifs. I would do anything like any story I would do. So yeah. Anyways, peace. I am out.